I was recently on a panel for young professionals for this event. They found me through a mutual connection and asked me to come speak to these young professionals. It was super fun because something that I've always had a hard time with, especially in my past career life before entrepreneurship, was feeling like the youngest person in the room and not feeling worthy enough to speak my mind or have an opinion, having enough experience. I would hear that all the time. It reminded me of when I tried to get my first credit card and they'd say, well, in order to get a credit card, you need to have credit. And I would be like, well, I can't get credit until I have a credit card. And that's how I would feel in my career when people would say, well, you don't have enough years of experience. And I was like, well, I was 19 10 years ago. So that doesn't really work. And it really used to frustrate me in both of those scenarios. And I think it all comes back to our self-worth, our confidence, our guilt, and allowing ourselves to be inexperienced in certain things. And one of the things that I talked about to these young professionals was being multifaceted. Something that I wish I had done differently as a young professional is honor my multifaceted self. Honor the fact that I was allowed to be more than just an employee, allowing myself to be a other human outside of that, to have hobbies and interests. Now, if I were to be hiring someone, I would want to know, what do you like to do for fun? What is the other part of you outside of this job? And for so long, I felt like I couldn't be multifaceted. Now, I see this showing up in our community with myself, so many others when it comes to motherhood, not even just our job, but so many people will say, what do you like to do for fun outside of being a mom? But also, we sometimes forget that that's what we should lead with instead of even leading with what it is for us as motherhood, whether it's how we parent or what our day looks like, our schedule, and what we do, that whether it's in our career or it's in motherhood, we are multifaceted humans and we should honor that. We should lead with who we are outside of those titles and allow the layers to be beautiful, allow us to be this multifaceted, beautiful, challenging person and unpacking each and every version of us as it unfolds. And I don't journal often. It's not something that is a daily practice of mine, although I wish it was in many ways. And, I'm definitely a work in progress myself. And occasionally I do journal and I look back at the things that I do journal, and I personally prefer using a Google Doc so that I can just type it wherever I am, on my computer, on my phone, anything else. And today I pulled it up and I was glancing through a couple of my past entries, and I found this one that kind of spoke to the same topic of understanding that we are multifaceted and there's different layers to us, whether it's in our job or in motherhood. And so I want to read this to you and just kind of unpack it a little bit. It says, sometimes being a mom looks like breakfast in bed, all the cuddles, being brought your favorite drink, melting as they say, I love you too, mama. Sometimes it's sitting in the couch, smiling, realizing all your people are here and you built this beautiful image. Other times, motherhood looks like calming a child after a night terror, cleaning up a middle of the night accident, holding the sick or not baby all night. It's taking a shower in the middle of the night after cleaning up the house after everyone's gone to bed. It's wanting to hold your babies while they're in bed, but they kick you away. It's wanting to be held by your partner, but there's a child in the way. Sometimes motherhood can feel lonely. You'll always wonder, are you doing it right? How serious was that mess up? What should you be reprioritizing? Why is he waking up upset? Why does it feel like I'm the only one who cares what this house looks like? Why does everyone else get to do what they want? But just then, when you get to the breaking point, that moment of frustration, you see their sleeping faces and you remember how it felt to hold them on your chest those first few weeks. You remember the last time they came and sat by you on the couch, the last time they said, Mama, are you okay? The last time your partner looked at you and smiled and you thought to yourselves, we did it. Motherhood is hard. It can be a wild ride, but it's the most beautiful one I've been on, and it challenges me, loves me, grows me, and reminds me every day who I'm meant to be. Now, this is obviously about my life. And so you might not have a partner. You may have different versions of motherhood. And some of those sentences may even be triggering to you if they're not things that you've experienced. But I want you to do is unpack for yourself what is the beautiful and the hard that you're experiencing in your life, whether it's motherhood, your profession, maybe it's in your job, it's your house. What are the things that make you feel so at home and pure and warm and hugged? What are the things that make you feel upset and misunderstood and challenged? Now, honoring those feelings doesn't always feel good. When I tell you to write down those things that I talk about in this paragraph of what you're keeping you up at night, what you're wondering, what you're going to give your little one a hug and they push you away, or when you're feeling at your breaking point or your frustration, revisiting those things isn't always going to feel good. But it doesn't mean that you shouldn't. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't work through whatever that other layer of multifaceted motherhood and life and self that you are. And when you can honor that negative and you can also honor that positive, and you can think about those moments that you are thinking, I did it. And those moments that you are thinking, wow, this is my life. This is beautiful. Or they love me and I love me. And what does that look like? Then you can see that life is multifaceted. There are various quotes about this that you can have an opinion on, but some of the ones that I try to remember if I'm having a hard day or a hard time is without dark, there would be no light, right? And every rainbow needs sun and rain. Various things like that for you to remember that every beauty has another layer. Everything that you look and work hard for has a layer of difficulty and a layer of beauty. And you might be like, Kelsey, I'm so confused. We first started with having hobbies in our workplace, and now we're talking about darkness and the beauty. Because here's the thing. Why are you hiding your hobbies at work? Why are you hiding who you are outside of motherhood? Why are you hiding a part of you? It's because you're not understanding that you can be multifaceted and that they can come together. It's because you're not allowing there to be darkness when there's light. And that doesn't mean that it's darkness, but for some reason, somewhere, you've put a label on something that you can't be both. So what do you need to unpack? What T-chart of negatives and positives do you need to work through to find that layers go together? How can you make yourself this beautiful layer, 7-layer dip or lasagna to look at yourself and say, okay, I am multifaceted and these things go together. I am a mom and more. I am a career woman and more. I am a business owner and more. I'm a wife and more. I am me and more. You are all of those different things. And sometimes it's going to look beautiful. Just like I read, sometimes it looks like maybe breakfast in bed and cuddles and beautiful memories. And it's that Instagram highlight reel. And other times it looks like a hot mess. And maybe that's when you're pulling out the journal. Maybe that's when you're sitting there and you're like, gosh, am I doing anything right? What am I doing? How am I going to make this better? But when you're in those moments, if you can remember the positives and you can say, okay, I may be feeling this way today, but my blessings are this. I am grateful for this. This is what is good right now. This is what I know I am doing well. And if you truly can't find any of this yourself, if you can't find that other layer, that multifaceted portion for you, then find someone in your life to pour back into you. It might be the Mama Has Goals community if you don't know anyone in your life that can do that for you. And it doesn't mean that you don't have anyone good in your life, right? We can't expect that one person in our life to be everything. This was such a learning for me. I absolutely adore my husband. He is such a pillar. He's everything to me. But I cannot expect him to do everything that I need. It's not fair to him, even when I forget that sometimes. So find your other people to support you and uplift you. Find other people that you need to remind you that you are more than whatever it is that's currently holding you. You are more than your job. You are more than just a mom. You are more than just a wife. You are more than your house. You are more than that title. You are more than a friend. You are multifaceted. You are probably at least 5 different things, if not more, when it comes to titles and badges that you wear, positive and negative. So on the days that it looks really great, acknowledge those. Acknowledge what's so great about those different layers. What does it look like when it feels so good? And when it doesn't feel as good, when you're wondering if you're doing it right, when you're wondering if you're in the right job or in the right business or if you're doing the right thing, then think about that too. Acknowledge those layers because they're all pieces to the puzzle. They're all portions of your story. And when you know what feels really good and you know what feels kind of tough, you can honor both sides of it. And then you can be the multifaceted person that you are and allow yourself to be a human. So, I'm sending you so much love, Mama. Keep going after those goals. I want to know, how did you think about came up for you in this conversation? What were you thinking about as I read these different things to you? I would love to know. And I have a visitor, so yeah. And sometimes multifaceted mama looks like recording on the podcast and giving hugs. You want to say hi?
Hi.
See you next week, Mama.